Here we go. Gentlemen,
Yo.
what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, brothers?
Nothing much, nothing much.
Man, hold up, man. Wait a minute, man. What a dog man. Now, what's up, dog man? What's up, dog man? Come on now. Let's talk to me, man.
Yes,
What's up with y'all? What's up with y'all?
We
Everything.
here.
Come on now, wake up now. Let's get this going. It's 7:30. Y'all ready?
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, let's run it up, man.
What's happening?
Nothing much, nothing much. Another collab. A major collab. I don't know how we did this. I don't know how we pulled this one off.
Oh man, you know it had to happen. It's just a matter of time. For the first time in history, if y'all don't know what's going on, we got over 100 years of dog experience, 30, 40 different dogs of different kinds of dogs at any given time. This is a dog man main event. You know what's going on right now? Y'all know what's going on. This is a dog man main event. And if you don't know, we got all of these different experiences to come from, to speak to. That's what's happening right now at 7:30. This is the first time in history this has ever been able to happen. All over the country. We coming in from all over the country checking in. You ain't know what's going on. That's what's happening right now.
Right.
Yep.
I couldn't have said it no better.
Yep. Well, this is a collab. Me and Jordan been doing shows all week, putting panels together and putting the best we can together. So it's been all week. He still want to do some more shows. I was scrambling trying to I'm running out of time too. So, but man, we got, of course, Jordan of Exotic Boy was here. We got Hecka, Force Multiplier here. That's his YouTube channel. We got brother my son K9 in here, Jihad Muhammad. He doesn't frequent the show many times.
Yes,
and of course, y'all know Lamont from La Potenza. He's frequent the show many a times. We all here at one spot, one time. Can you believe it?
For the first time in history.
Man.
All the moons, stars, and quasars align properly.
Yeah, so if you got questions, y'all can chime in, hit us up in the chat, in the comments, put your questions in there. You know, we got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. We're going to really be breaking it down. We're going to get into this deep. We're going to dive deep. We're going to have some really tough, we're going to talk about some stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. Function and the standards. We're going to get everybody's thoughts on that. But can we start, Hecka, can you just tell everybody just a little brief history on you?
Yeah, man. So, first of all, peace and prosperity to everyone. For the folks that don't know me, I'm Brandon Hecka. You know, some people know me as Brandon. Some people know me as Hecka. The Force Multiplier is all of my social medias. So you could definitely go check me out on any platform. You can find me. But yeah, man, I'm probably out of everybody here, I probably have the least amount of tenure in the dog world. But you know, I was fortunate enough to train with, you know, someone that is world renowned. You know, Gypsy Stratton is my teacher. You know, rest in peace to Gypsy Stratton. So I believe just by being able to be trained by someone of his caliber has expedited my, I guess you could say, wisdom in the dog world. So although I'm new to a lot of people, my information that I received is years ahead of my time in the game.
Gotcha. Jihad, y'all know him. This subject was crucial because Jihad does a lot of showing. He's been kicking butt in the Rottweiler world. Tell him a little bit, brother.
Okay, my name is Brother Jihad Muhammad. I've been breeding the Rottweiler and the Connie Corso for over a decade consistently. My company went basically official in 2020. And at that time, I kind of really gave an assessment of where we were at and where I was at mentally as far as these breeds. And had the opportunity to attend some secret shows. And it just really opened up my mind, the way I think in terms of what I thought I knew about both the Rockwell and the Cane Corso. So I have 10 years of breeding. I've been dealing with these dogs, this two particular breeds for 10 years. And I always maintain the spirit of a student, because I run into brothers who are brilliant like you all that I can always learn from. And I leave with a new and a fresh spirit and a fresh perspective. So I'm here as a student to give what I have to give and to get what I have to get.
That's what's up. Then we got
Peace, bro. Yes.
we got Old Faithful here. Lamont Lapatenza, 27 years in. It was crucial to have him on this show because we talked about function, and he's one of the few I've seen that has dogs that work, and he done showed. So that's unique within itself. Lamont, tell him a little bit about yourself, brother.
Well, I'm gonna correct you because March made 28 years.
28.
No, I'm just kidding. But
30.
yeah, man, I was just blessed to be able to grow up the way that I grew up. Goosebumps on my own, because I got a chance to talk to him a few times, and just those 15, 20, 30 minutes of conversation, you just realize you didn't know everything that you thought you knew. He brought something to you every time that I talked to him that was like, wow. So I can only imagine the knowledge that he was exposed to by dealing with him every day, or daily, or weekly, or whatever it may have been. I've been involved with the Corso for about 28 years. I also did import Rottweilers. I did for about 10 years. I did pit bulls for about 19 years. I've also did shepherds for about 5 years. I dib and dab with the Malinois a little bit here and there. Kind of my personal, I have a few myself. But I got into the show side of things because a guy told me my dogs weren't proven. And I ran circles around him in the performance side of things. We did some fast cat and some, obedient stuff. Well, he told me my dogs weren't proven. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, you don't do anything in the show, in the confirmation. I said, well, that's not our world. And what I was implying was you didn't see many blacks at that time in the show ring. What we had to do at that time, whether people want to hear it or not, we had to put our dogs in white handlers' hands, and they had to show our dogs in order for our dogs to have a fair shake. Not my way of doing things. That's just the way that it was. And I asked him, I said, so you telling me because I don't show confirmation that my dogs aren't proven? He said, exactly. I said, well, when the next show you going? What's the next show you going to? He told me. So I said, well, I tell you what, I'm going to take 3, and at least you'll finish 4. Oh, and he didn't like that because he had a grand champion. So I took me, my daughter, and my partner, and I took 3 dogs. And there were 2 shows on Friday, there was 2 shows on Saturday, and there were 2 shows on Sunday. He finished 4th on both shows on Friday. He finished 4th on both shows on Saturday. And I called him Saturday morning because I'm petted like that. And I said, well, where you at? We finna show. He said, they don't know dogs. So it was something that I was able to do with my daughters. My daughter, she was the #1 junior handler in the country for about 3 or 4 years straight. So that gave me the experience on the show side of things. I had some great teachers that worked with me and her that taught us the things that I had no clue about. But one thing that I did know, and I'm glad this subject is coming up, is I have several friends that do a lot of protection work. And unfortunately, their dogs don't have the confirmation that they should to get the full ability of the work side that they could get. So I think a show like this, especially with the knowledge that's on this panel, can be a benefit that they don't have to, they couldn't buy. You can't buy the knowledge that's on this panel today. when it comes to the working, conformation, breeding, whatever it may be, the all aspects of the dogs. But to see functionality and to get the most out of it, that dog needs to be solid in its conformation. It needs to have strong hips. It needs to have strong, wide chest, powerful in its movements. And we've been shown that if he'll bite and he'll work, that's all it needs to be. I don't necessarily agree with that per se, because an unhealthy dog can't work the way it needs to. If it has some things about it that aren't sound when it comes to their conformation. They definitely need the mind. They got the.
Right.
Go ahead, bro.
Okay, yeah, we got to get on. Jihad, did you introduce yourself? Let me introduce myself. Did you introduce yourself yet?
Yes, sir.
Talk to me.
Yeah, you're getting a little long-winded there. Hold on, we got to make sure everybody get the introduction in. Okay, hold on 1 second. Hold that thought right there. Go ahead, Jihad.
Man,
Jihad
already introduced himself.
Okay, well, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Jordan Pittman, if you didn't know. And I feel that the Border is the best dog on the history on earth. And it's the best companion for you in the modern day living. Okay, that's I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew who I was, because I didn't get a chance to say nothing yet. And I want to make sure that I had said that if you didn't know. So to make sure that I set the record straight on that, now we can continue it, because my fault. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Everybody missed it. This was an NWA and Borble collab.
Yeah,
we doing a collab. Everybody we're gonna do a round table. We're gonna take turns talking, get everybody a chance, make sure, we pass the mic around, so make sure we can keep it rolling, because we got a lot of stuff that we want to get through.
Gotcha.
Okay, yeah, so everybody introduce themselves. Yeah, I'm Jordan, and I didn't get a chance to say that. So look, you said you wanted to get into Joe. What was the first question? I ain't mean to interrupt. I missed it. Let me make sure we get that in. And so we're talking about function. What was the first question? Function and with Mastiffs and the origins of Mastiffs.
Origins of Mastiffs?
Yeah, well, what did you say? We got a line of questions. In the beginning, we was talking. We could right now. Bro was talking about showing dogs modern day. We done got way ahead. Well, the show is function and standard, and he started out by telling. I started the show with. When I started with him, when I asked him, I said he was one of the few people that I know that has working dogs that showed, and he was explaining how he got there and what happened. And we were just gonna build off that. Okay, my fault. Yeah, nigga, calm down. that board will let me hold on, though. I gotta make sure everybody know I'm in. You hear me? But anyway, so he was just telling his experience on that and whatnot. And I just wanted to build off that. So, Jihad, you have showed as well. And
yes, sir. I've been fortunate enough to show. I actually went to two shows. Two shows in Texas. It's an RKNA show, and they do the Rockwell and Confirmation. They do some demonstrations in terms of work. The first day, and then the second and the third day is basically complete confirmation by age. I would agree with Brother Lamont that the dog, we're dealing with working breeds. So even though you can show, the dog must have or show the ability to work. And I kind of pivot off Oliver Newbrand when we look at the Rottweiler in terms of picking a dog. There are 4 things that we want to make sure that we have. The first thing is health. The dog must have sound health. A lot of people talk about how big the dog is and how nice the dog looks. But if the genetic health is not there, we have no foundation to move forward with a breed. Okay.
Right.
This becomes difficult for us because a lot of us are deep down in our program. If we haven't done it, we may have to go back and look at our data and actually track what we're producing and see is the genetic health there. And the second thing is confirmation. Every dog has a standard. There's an international standard for every dog. You could take that dog anywhere in the world and people could look at it and know exactly what it is. There's no confusion as to what the dog is because of confirmation. The third thing is working ability. If you have a working breed, then the dog must at some point demonstrate the ability to work. And then the last thing is socialization, and that deals with temperament. So I didn't really get a chance in reading the breed standard and listening to people, reading all these different books. I didn't really get a full comprehensive understanding of what that meant until I actually went to the shows and started listening to the critiques. And every show don't give critiques, but the critique is important because it gives you a sense of direction in terms of breeding so that you can produce a better product. Brad talked about muscle, he talked about bone strength, he talked about width of chest. All of that stuff is part of what, when we go into confirmation, is part of what we look at. We're able to see the weakness in our dogs and not be kennel blind. And then from having that confirmation or that critique, we're able to properly make a proper pairing that will produce a better product. So I love the shows, man. I'm looking forward to going back into the show ring in September.
Come on, Jordan. What you got?
Oh, well, y'all know me. Do y'all know how I feel about dog shows? I feel like this is very important. You know, it's a great networking event. It's mainly for people. You know, it's a chance for us to get out there and see each other dogs, have them evaluated by so-called experts, have people that know they're supposed to be masters of the breed standard, evaluate the dog supposedly. It's a lot of opinions, though. It's really based off of opinion, because the true performance dog is going to always be a different dog than the show working dog. In my experience, I have always seen, I mean, not to take off, hey, listen, I'm not saying that it can't be done, but in the cases, this is my position. In most cases, the working dog counterpart is completely different dog than the show dog, and across breeds. So a working boxer look different than the show boxer. Working shepherd look different than the show shepherd. Working Rottweiler typically is different than now this is new to me, but because brother, you are actually one of the few people that I know of. But I don't know. Is your dog? Do you run a working dog Rottweiler line, or do you run a show right? Like is it the same thing, or is there two different?
In the show ring, we are looking. One of the things that must be looked at is working ability. If the dog does not show a willingness to work, it don't make no difference how good it looks. If it does not show a willingness to work, then it's no good. So we believe that the working breed that enters the show should be able to do what? To show and to work. That's why we talk about having a complete dog. Not just a dog that can do one thing, but we talk about having a complete dog. That means a dog that can show and confirmation, and a dog that has a willingness to work. Now, I will say this, I don't want to be long. Sometimes you get a dog that has working ability and he goes to the wrong home, or he goes to a home where he's not being put to work, okay? That happens for different reasons, but it does not mean that the dog does not have or does not display working ability. So we absolutely do not want to lose that. And let me make this point. When we did our first show earlier this year in February, and then the show that the dog I have now attended in Georgia and also in Texas, one of the things, both of these judges were from Great Britain, and one of the things they wanted to see was that drive in the dog for whatever object or whatever it was he was baiting. They wanted to see some drive, and that's how I ended up getting placed first over somebody that had a dog that stacked nice and ran good, but the dog did not show any drive toward getting whatever the object was that the dog was being baited. So that's one of the things that they look at is whether drive, the ability to work of the dog. They're making an assessment from the time the dog enters the ring.
I got a couple of questions. So who do you show with the AKC, or who do you show with?
We show it RKNA and IRCA. These two groups are recognized by the ADRK in Germany, and they are primarily send judges that are either FCI judges or judges from Germany. So they do the SE, they do the BST, the breed suitability test. They do some work in scoring. They do all of that.
Okay, so when you say, so how do they judge? Because I'm not familiar with those organizations. I mean, honestly, I'm unfamiliar with the the larger organizations that show dog, Westminster, AKC, the commercial-based show rings.
Yeah,
So,
I think they do something different, because in the AKC, from what I understand from talking to AKC judges, they don't want to see that drive. That's why I say Seegers. It's a German style show.
Okay.
It's not American. They want to see a dog that just stand there and don't do nothing.
Right. So that was going to be my question. So how do they test for workability in a dog, physically and mentally? How do they test for that at the show?
They have they do the demonstrations in terms of schützen, where you take the dog, taking the dog through some obedience commands. You're doing bite work.
Okay.
And the only thing that's missing, of course, in the shows that I have went to is the tracking. But you're sending the dog to bite. The dog is outing on command. The dog is returning on command. They have several tests like that they do. Okay. And the test is different levels of the test. The test intensifies when a dog passes one level, they could go to another level. It's more commands, more obstacles. Even when they do the BSE, which is the breed suitability test, they're basically testing, they do confirmation, and then they're testing the temperament with the gun, with the crowd. It's the gun, it's the crowd, it's the confirmation in terms of actually getting a full documentation with scales. And for instance, like when we talk about confirmation in terms of skull to muzzle ratio, when you're not doing a BS, they're looking at that dog and they're making what you said a judgment, and they could be off. But then they got a tool when you do the BST, right? So they're gonna put this tool on there and they're gonna get the actual numbers. So there ain't no guessing and ain't no this or that. They're gonna get the numbers. They're gonna put that dog on the scale, they'll get the weight. They're gonna get the height of that dog. They're gonna turn around and they're gonna pull their eye chart out, and they're gonna get the accurate information with people standing right there. And there's an opportunity now. I've seen, particularly there's a lady that I won't call her name, but she'll even challenge a judge. If a judge is wrong in his judgment, that judge can be challenged, okay? And it can be appealed.
So let me ask you this. So in
you said it could be appealed.
That it could be, the judge can be challenged.
Oh, appealed.
Yeah.
Appealed.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. In a world where, everybody, their claim to fame is big dog, right? Mm-hmm. That's what they sell dogs off of now. The dog, if it ain't 100 pounds by 6 months, then, it ain't a Corso, it ain't a Rottweiler, right? Mm-hmm. So
Color.
based
Color.
off
Color, yeah.
and color as well, of course. You
Mhm.
know, of
Yeah.
course, color. So based on your experience as far as the, I guess, original standard of the Rottweiler and the Corso, and then I asked Brother Lamont about the Corso as well. You know, as far as your take on it, you know, what is the sweet spot for a male Corso, right? As far as height and weight, and what's the sweet spot for a male Rottweiler as far as height and weight?
It
I
depends
speak.
on what you. It depends on what you're using it for, and that's one of the
I'll speak in a real general term.
right.
Okay, from what I understand, both the Rottweiler and the Cunning Corso is a medium to large size, robust breed dog. I think that when you get over 6 to 8 centimeters for a male, depending on weight, you can be overdone or you could be pushing it. Remember, with the Rottweiler, that we're looking for 3 things in one dog. We're looking for strength, we're looking for agility, and we're looking for endurance. So when we go overweight, we may be able to maintain strength, and we may lose agility or endurance. Anytime there's a certain weight for a dog, and we go over that weight, we risk something, we lose something. Okay, that's why a lot of people saying they want big dogs, big dogs, big dogs. But when I look at the big dogs, they ain't moving. And when I look at the big dogs that people boast about, I'm seeing hip and elbow problems. I got a veterinary mentor that before she even do the X-ray, she can see the dog in movement. And for these massive breeds that we just want to go big, big, big because we following the client and we chasing $1, I don't think it's good. I personally don't think it's good. Let me close by saying this. I had a female out of German lines, both sides, mother and father, Sunset. Very big dog. Everybody wanted puppies off of her. And I had people that wanted to buy her. She was big. And when I started to get into the show and find out what was going on with that dog, I didn't breed the dog. I did not sell the dog. I gave the dog away. Because the Rottweiler should not have loose skin in the face. That's a Mastiff. That skin is supposed to be tight. The feet, the Corso is allowed to have what we call cat feet. The Rottweiler is not. So when people say they want big, they don't understand the novice person that's not studying or who really don't have a zeal for the breed. They don't understand what should be there and what shouldn't be there. And they will move in accord to where the money is. If I sell a dog today, it's okay. If I don't never sell another dog, I'm gonna eat. So I don't have to destroy the breed chasing a dog. As I educate myself more about both breeds, you see me moving closer to what the standard is versus chasing a dog.
So I think the answer to your question, if I take a second to do it, you asked about the weight.
Yeah.
It boils down to kind of what you're doing with the dog. What the standard says is that male should be between 115-ish to 135-ish, somewhere around there, give or
And this
take
for
a
the
little bit.
Corso.
Is that
It's
for
for
the
the
Rottweiler?
Corso.
Corso.
Yeah, it's for
I thought it
the
was
Corso.
110 to 140. I
For-
thought it was 110 to 140 or something like that.
So
I
this
think
is
it
the
might have
thing about
maxed
the
out
stand.
I think it might have maxed out to 110. I can tell you real quick though. I'll look it up.
So this, you got to understand, the standard changes. It doesn't
It's a
always
floating
stay the
standard.
same.
And that's why I wanted to get to. It's a floating standard. I'm glad you said
Yeah.
that.
So one of the things I've seen is the standard changes depending on who the parent company is, like the CCA and those kind of things. And what you see is those standards change depending on who has certain dogs. If their dogs are heavier, you'll see that standard change to a heavier standard. If their dogs are boxier, you'll see the standard change in the head. Those kind of things. So when you ask for the standard, we might need to look up the standard of today, because
Yeah,
the standard 15 years ago was different. The standard
right. The
30
standard
years
15 years
ago
ago
was
was different.
different. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I know for sure.
It
You're exactly right.
fluctuates. So when it comes to what I like to see from a dog, and this is me, I like to see my males, and Joe will tell you, it's a lot of people will say my dogs are too small. I like to see my males between 100 to maybe 130. That's about where I like to see them. Most people are going to say 110 to 140, like he just said. Okay, because that's what you see more of now. Well, 20 years ago, you didn't. Okay.
Right.
You seen a male that was 105, 110, 115-ish. Now you see females that are 150,
That's
140.
crazy.
That's never been the case. Okay. So the standard, it's obsolete depending on what time it is. Do you
Yeah,
see what I'm saying?
it don't say no exact weight. They done took the weight. It says around 100 pounds though.
Now, did you see what I mean?
Right.
It used to have a specific weight
It had a
when it came
specific
to the
weight.
standard.
Yep.
But
So-
those standards change. So what's important is when you start looking at what the dog is being used for.
I like that
Pets,
too.
most pets you're gonna see, most pets they're gonna be bigger, because that's the world that we live in now. They want big dogs until they get them.
Right.
And then when they get them and they don't have the temperament to match what they thought they were going to get, now that weight becomes a problem. See, when you got a 145-pound dog that you can't control, it's time to rehome him. It's time to put him to sleep. Those kind of things. But you wanted a big, huge, fluffy dog. Whereas most people, if you give them a 100-pound dog, they can't control it most of the time. No way. Take a guy like yourself that is going to work him, and you're going to work him tough. A 95-pound male is a monster.
Right.
You know that
Right.
as well as I do. And even in the Corso breed, you see what I'm saying? So my male, he's 106 pounds, my main male, and he will hit a hog and lift him off his feet. I'm talking about a 220-pound hog. He'll hit him in the chest and lift him up and walk him back and take him where I want him to take him. And he's 7 years old, almost 8, till this day. So I know the function. I know the functionality. I know the functionality that I require when it comes to my dogs and my breeding program. What they do with them somewhere else, hey, I can't control that. But I try to stay true to what I knew the Corso to be when I started, with the people that taught me. But even some of the people that have taught me, they went away from what we once did, because they conform to what the market called for. You know, they wanted big dogs. They want the color, because that's what sells. So because we all have different standards that we stand on. You know, we all have principles that we won't, go away from. So unfortunately, I can't give you a specific when it comes to male or female, except for my opinion, because the standard changes, from time to time.
Well, I wanted to say something about to Brother Jihad. I think that it's really commendable with the way that they do the evaluations and the measurements and keep accurate data with in the German systems, and do some form of obedience to quantify and measure and make sure that they're keeping those traits intact. Because I had a question for you. I was going to ask you, like, when you talk about in terms of preservation, is it from a historical standpoint? Because the Rottweiler was bred to do, a certain specific job, but the modern times call for a dog to do different things. So I'm glad that you brought up, and I think that it's a lot to be learned from American systems. Some things that we should be doing over here in terms of like every dog for breed suitability testing. We should that should be mandated in breeding programs. Your dog you should be able to say, well, because my dog is able to accomplish certain things before it's bred, mandatory to the breed. What are you preserving? And before we move on to the next generation. So I'm glad that it came up. I think that this is really what this is all about. these unique perspectives, because that is a different type of system.
Right.
But the
And
genie's out the bottle. Unfortunately, the genie's out the bottle, and you have so many that will never follow a standard or quality or those things, because at the end of the day, you have more chasing the dollar than you have more that have a mindset of preservation. And that's unfortunate, but how do you put that genie back in the bottle? I think, unfortunately, you can't.
Well, here's
So you
something
have to have platforms like this that can and try to save a few,
Right.
Yeah, most definitely, for sure, all the way.
And here's something. I think it was who said something about the difference in terms of going to shows, that it was something that was not for us. Who said that? I think it was it.
Bingo.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
Brother Monk made a excellent point. There's been a time when we have always had to get somebody else's garbage.
Right.
Okay? There was a time when we did not go to shows. There was a time when we entered the door, we were not treated fairly. But now we have an opportunity to make some headway.
Right.
And I'll tell you all this, that in Arkansas, in terms of showing and secret confirmation, it's been Black folks that's taking the lead.
Right.
Your Anthony Forte, your Convante Peters, your T. Yorkies, who are going in the ring with millionaires who got money and are trumping them based upon their dog, based upon their ability to handle the dog, based upon their placement, and based upon their superior selective breeding. The brother Anthony Forte, who is a brother in Arkansas, he could tell you what he intends to get, and when he put it together, it's coming out like that. And he's able to take multiple dogs into the ring and champion them out.
And what you said, this is in the German show.
This is in German style with the Rockwell.
So they doing a breed suitability test, and then what are the is it just confirmation, or is it
you're doing
when they championing the dog out? Is purely confirmation. So there is no testing near in terms of working abilities.
The only test you're gonna do when you're doing confirmation is when you get to that breed suitability test, or you're testing.
That's the only test.
Temperament.
That's involved.
To qualify to breed the dog.
Right.
Okay. You are doing a genetic health test in terms of the JLPP, which is testing for juvenile neuropathy. You're doing that. That's a requirement. The hips and elbows is a requirement. And then in the Rockwell world, the teeth is very important. So the teeth has to be the 42 teeth, 22 at the bottom, 20 at the top, with the scissor bite. Everything is in line right. So they're looking at the genetics. There's a part of the genetics that you're testing that you have to get cleared. That breed suitability test is heavily emphasized. And then, of course, confirmation. So there's 3. And then to be a junior champion, you're not having to do the genetic health test until you go into the adult champion. So, and there's 3 points, and then again 5 points to be an adult champion.
One of the main reasons that the way the shows are operated that you're doing, that makes it a fair scale. I don't care what color you are, I don't care what gender you are, is the performance side of things. The dog can do it or it can't. That is where in history we always made it you couldn't pay somebody to do it for you. And that's where the performance side of things always made it fair. And that's why I always gravitated to that, because I didn't care what your pocket said. I cared about if I knew my dog was better and he worked better. So during the AKC, you asked about the AKC and those kind of things. I can tell you it's still very, very political. Very political. What's showing right now at AKC is trash. I think, Mr. G.I., you done been to a couple of them and you've seen it. The dogs are not meeting a standard, but what they are meeting is someone that is well known in the ring, being able to have a relationship with certain judges, and they show your dog, and they champion your dog. I'm gonna give you an example. This is why the performance side of things is great. I've had several dogs that were not under my name. I purposely didn't put them under my kennel name, and they were shown by people of different color. They championed those same dogs, okay? I took the same dog after it was championed in the ring and didn't place.
Damn. Yeah.
So that was the past. Has it changed? To a certain extent, but it's still the same political side of things when it comes to certain organizations.
Do you think more so now that people try to pick the right handler to get their dog?
It helps.
Yeah,
it helps. And people want, and he'll tell you, people want to champion their dogs. They don't want to go in there and just show for fun. They want to champion them because that's what they're doing it for. Because on the other side of that champion is the hustle. Now you're buying puppies from a champion dog. Doesn't mean that you could have put. Doesn't mean you could have put 2 or 3 of your dogs in the same ring and beat your own dogs with that dog. You get me? So that's how we would talk.
That's how you get to the championship. You go to the show where it's got a whole bunch of dogs, especially if you got a rare breed. You pull up to the show with 5 or 6 of your own dogs, and then pull up, and then you get you a championship. It's all rigged at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? If you see what's really going on, 4 or 5 shows in the weekend, you could pull off a championship. You know what I'm saying?
Period.
4 or 5 shows in the weekend, you could bring your dog 5 or 6 times. If you see what people doing, pulling up out of town, right? They pulling up out of town with a rig full of dogs, 6 or 7 dogs, and then they show them 3 days in a row. They got several. They, my cousin or whoever that came with them, and that's how you win. That's how you get you a championship real quick. You get your points up fast. That's why they say to get your championship, it's gonna cost you a couple dollars, 15 points, right? The most that you, the most you can get at one show.
So Jordan, can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
Jordan, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
With the Bauble, I know we've seen it in the Corso side of things. When you see people buy Baubles now, or some of the breeders that you might know, are they pushing size as much as they are in other breeds with the Bauble? I mean, I've seen some. I've seen people bragging about 205, 210. And when you see them, they look like baby hogs, Are they pushing that in your breed as well? To where it's losing its functionality?
That's across the board. This is the problem. Across the board, we pushing this agenda for it's like a dog. Dogs is a status symbol, right?
Yeah, like a purse. Like a purse.
It's like a collector's item, a car. It's like a car or tennis shoes. It depends. Everybody into something, right? Everybody got their thing. It's a hobby. It's a pastime. It's not required. You don't need a dog. You don't have to have a dog. 99.9% of the time, people to this day and age, they don't have to have a dog. They just got a dog for a pet, right? It's not required to live. You don't need a dog to hunt. Everybody going to the grocery store. Well, it is a small percentage of people in the world that have to have dogs in order to hunt. But that's not what's going on in 99% of the time in modern civilized society. And that's why the big dog is fitting in, because they don't sit around. They don't do nothing, right? So that's why everybody wants a bigger dog, and they're just trying to feed it and stand around with each other. And I got the biggest dog, and I got the biggest head, and I don't care what breed you in. That's a Rottweilers, big Borbals, Mastiffs, Neos. You know what I'm saying? It's a show. That's all it is. It's just a show to me. Everybody bragging. Ain't nobody really. It's very few. It's a small percentage of people that do. have dogs that is being measured though, and getting down to it though. It is, but the bottom line is, I think that's occurring. I don't want to, we ain't gonna single out the Borbal. We ain't gonna single out the Borbal. You know what I'm saying? Everything's across all the breeds. It's across all the breeds that's doing that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody trying to push the bigger dog and acting like they got the best dog because it's bigger. But the truth of the matter is, the real dog is the running dog. I don't care what dog breed that you have.
So I agree with you totally. But with you being in the Borbals, have you seen the functionality of them move towards it not being what it used to be, with that being pushed in that breed?
I don't think that it never was, because that's what I'm saying. The whole point is all about everybody just a status thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you were saying, with the same thing that's going on in the AKC. We got people that say breed clubs and clicks and politics, right? And then you got to get in with this certain crew or this crowd. And if you don't, then it's likely that they're gonna always put their dog as better than yours, right? Because they ice is colder for some reason, and you could have got your dog from them, right? Or you showing the dog under somebody else's name, and then it's gonna win, and then because they assume that it's coming from somebody else, and it's just a bunch of politics. Ain't nobody got no real dogs for real. If you really want to get into it, you know what I'm saying? The real dog is the running dog. If your dog can't perform, if your dog can't last the test of time, if your dog they don't have endurance, stamina. If you look at a wild dog, that's the real confirmation. What a wild dog look like. If somebody else said that, I ain't the first one that said that, but you go to Mother Nature and you look at the coyote and the wolf, right? Those are the dogs. That's the selection that we need to be looking at in terms of confirmation. If it ain't built like that, then it ain't built to survive. People making all these accommodations for these dogs. These dogs is pets.
Can I want to ask a question.
A week, rather. That's what I meant to say.
I want to ask a question. This is kind of a question for Lamont and Hecka. And it's a temperament question, especially for you, Hecka, because you deal with some pretty rough dogs. Could you take your dog to a show if you really wanted to, Hecka? Or do you for it's like, should a dog be on the control? Like, you gonna do what I tell you. I don't care if you're a killer or not. You gonna do what I say. Should the dog be like that for his when you own one?
So here's okay. Yes and no.
Let me expound a little bit more. As for as being around other dogs, now I ain't gonna say show. If you came into a room of dogs, should your dog be under control? Shouldn't be trying to attack anything without you telling it?
Yes. I believe
absolutely.
So. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a balanced dog for me.
Right.
That's in tune with the owner.
Absolutely.
The dog shouldn't be acting up unless I say it's okay.
Yeah. So, me personally, I don't take a liking to aggressive dogs. You don't have to be a dog that is just happy to be around dogs, but you have to tolerate dogs. Because I just come in contact with too many dogs to be dealing with a aggressive dog. So, but to answer your question, yes, I do believe that a good dog should be able to function wherever you take it, especially, with proper obedience.
Lamar, you want to expound on that?
Well, I don't. To me, that just exemplifies the word balance. You take Vulcan. He's a champion. He had the show in the ring. He hunts hog. He does protection. He goes to daycares and do dog education with the kids. He goes to the senior living facilities, and old people walk off with him. But when it's time to work, he works.
That's a real dog.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But when it's time to work, it works. And Joe, I think he works. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So at the end of the day, but watch this. This is the thing that's so crazy. I've been doing them 28 years. I ain't had but a few that I can put in that category that can check all those boxes. Because I'm honest. I'm honest. When it comes to a complete dog, You don't have them every litter.
No, you ain't gonna have
You
that
don't
all
have
the
them
time.
every 2 litters.
No, you ain't. That's
That's
like
what I'm gonna say.
When you grab a hold of them, you hold on to them, and not only that, what I do love about it is this: he produces what he is. So when you can find one that is what he is and can produce what he is consistently, now that's when you talk about elevating your program to preservation, because now you're hitting the boxes and you're taking the things that you said I need to take from this breed and continue it. Whereas I didn't take a male that was less superior, but he looked great. He had thick hips, he had correct head, but his temperament was weak and he was skittish and those kind of things. So I take him and I breed him selectively to certain things because I'm trying to preserve exactly what he is. And I can tell you, I don't hit the mark every time. It's hard to find that complete dog because
That's real. That's real right
most
there.
homes, most homes can't function or build a complete dog because they're not going to do the things to actually see if he is a complete dog. When you talk about protection, you got to go do protection work. When you talk about temperament in a school, you got to go to the school. You can't say, "Oh, he's good with my kids. He loves my niece,"
Right.
because that does not exemplify him truly checking the boxes of can he be tolerable of other dogs. But your mama bring a Shih Tzu over and that kind of stuff. So what what my guy said was spot on. I do come into contact with too many dogs to have dogs aggressive. Joe will tell you I have 3 females that run my property. I do a lot of behavior modification. So when you bring me that Borble that's acting a fool and he nipping and he biting at people, and now I got to get his temperament right. I got 3 females that when he get out that car, they gonna let him know I run with bad bitches.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I
And
go down there. I go down there and do a breed with him. I tell my dog, "Welcome to the penitentiary, boy." Because what?
yeah, yeah. But watch this though. You can come with your dog. You can come with that same dog and and your child and them same 3 gonna walk off with your baby. And she gonna play with them and love on them like they grew up with her. They just have a temperament that you can't buy, man. And those are the things that as breeders, because I know some of us on here are breeders as well, you got to have some pride in what you do. You can't just go with what's the norm, you know what I mean? It's different for, um, like him, he deals with some hard dogs, all the time. And it takes a different kind of temperament, a different kind of mentality than most.
You know what you said make me kind of reflect on some of these judges that have been around for 40 years have only bred 10, 12, 13 litters in 40 years because of what brother just said, that they are not just breeding just to say I bred. They're looking for specific dogs to breed with. And the critique, as we was talking about the critique, there are certain dogs that have the genetic health testing on file and the critiques on file, the video movement, all of this stuff. And their sperm has been preserved 5, 10, 15 years, just waiting on the right female to take it to. So, what you said is extremely important when it comes down to breeding, making sure that that you take what you have that's great and preserve and reproduce it.
Yeah. So it's funny you said that. I have some sperm from a dog that was well known 20 years ago, maybe. Right?
Yeah.
I won't use it. You know why I won't use it? The reason I won't use it, honestly, I feel like I'm gonna be going backwards. See, because since him, there's been some improvements in that line. And yes, he was a really good dog back then. But I've seen a lot of things because I don't get kennel blind. You get me? Every dog I got 55 or 60 Corsos.
right now.
I can see it. Yeah, I can see. I got a lot of dog food bill. I got a hell of a dog food bill. So I I can see I can see little things in each one of them that need some improvement, right?
Right.
And because I'm honest with myself,
Right.
but I was asked by the guy that I got it, why you won't use it and bring it into this one or bring it into that one. And to be honest with you, I feel like I would be going backwards because I've made improvements from him 20
Right.
years ago. So
Right.
why would I take 20-year-old problems and bring them back in for me to start over fixing them again?
You're right.
I
Would you
want to
let
use
somebody else buy that semen from you?
absolutely. You know why? Because if they want to go backwards, that's fine with me.
But it may be going forward for them though.
It definitely will be
Right.
going forward for them because you have so many of the lines now. They don't
Yeah.
have what he had 20 years ago. You see
Right.
what I'm saying? So
Right.
actually, I've seen the guy who had it. He's been selling the semen to other people and not using it himself. You know why? Because me and him had this same conversation. And I think it's something clicked in him that said, hell, I'm 20 years past that as well. Why would I bring it back in? You get me? So it's a lot of things
That's
to this
beautiful.
dog game. It's a
Right.
lot of things to this dog game. And until we're able to actually be totally honest with each other on all aspect of it, whether it's performance, confirmation, breeding, training, or whatever it may be, you'll just keep having people sit back and keep secrets. And see, I've been based up. I've always carried myself like this because a white guy that was a pastor that I was really close with, he made me promise one thing. He would teach me the business of dogs as long as if I needed to teach it, if another black man needed to learn it, I teach it to him for free. He made me promise to teach a black man. I said, well, my question would say, why did you say a black man? He said, because they always want to keep y'all as buyers. I said, damn. He said,
He told the
because
truth.
y'all get that's what he told me. Now this
Right.
is and he ended up being a really, really close friend of mine. He said, they always want to keep y'all as buyers. He said, and you'll never get a chance to truly do dogs the way you can if you don't know the business of dogs.
Right.
Me, I'm the kind of man that says, teach me. But he made me make that promise. So it's not only do I teach black men, I teach men of all colors, races, or whatever it may be. But I specifically teach a guy that looks like me.
Right. Right.
I teach him so he doesn't make critical mistakes that's going to cost him pocket wise, that's going to cause other families to have issues as well. Because if we make a mistake as a breeder, it's going into somebody else's home and it's causing them
Mhm.
as well. So that's why I take the pride in what I do when it comes to breeding is I don't want to send a headache to a family because you said it first, Jordan. You signed, they humanize their dogs and they become a family member. So I don't want to send a family member that they got to put down in 3.5 years because his hips are bad or his
Right.
temperament is terrible. Now it's bit one of their children, those kind of things. So when I do this, I take it serious to the point of what would I bring this same thing in my home around my children? Or would I put it in that gentleman's hand up in that corner so for him to train it?
Right.
And now my name is on it, and he gonna be able to say, "Hey man, I got one of them course over in Lamont. That sucker tail went between his legs." You know, he wouldn't bite a sack of, he wouldn't bite a hot biscuit on a cold night. You know, nah. So I take pride in what I do when it comes to that. You know.
Mhm. Right. What you got, Jordan?
Oh, yeah, that's what's up, man. I respect it, man. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do.
The market. What do you think about the market? For as I seen a show. They saying the shelters are filling up crazy. People can't move their dogs. You want to start with it, Jordan, or what?
Oh yeah, well yeah, man. Because you know why? Well, of course, it's supply out. Is the demand is everybody thought that the dogs was gonna be a good business. Everybody thought that the dog is a great investment. Dogs ain't a business.
COVID,
No, dogs ain't no business. Dogs are it's
COVID.
something that it's a hobby. And you get a when you sell a litter or something, that's a windfall, that's something extra. That's just to cut down on what you already was spending on your dog food. You know what I'm saying? To get some of your money back. But you know, the problem is that it's simple mathematics, supply and demand. If you, I be saying this all the time. Everybody should, if you want to make some money, go get you a lawnmower and cut some grass. Go get you if you're trying to spend $2,000. You know what I'm saying? Get you a
Yeah.
backpack blower, a lawnmower, and a trimmer, and go get busy. You know what I'm saying? Walk behind, push behind if you got to, but or a pickup truck or something else. You know what I'm saying? But see, the true dog enthusiast is preserving. You feel me? Is the dogs? It happened before. It comes in, it goes these waves, right? And it was is the sad thing about it though. A lot of dogs getting ready to get put down.
What you think, Heckle?
Say that again.
So what you think about that? The market.
Well, to be honest with you, man, that's part of the reason why I've decided recently to slow down dramatically on my breeding endeavors.
Right.
Because a couple of reasons. I really want to hone in and focus on what's going to separate me from everybody else that's breeding Corsos and
Mm-hmm.
Rottweilers. You know what I mean? It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot, it's a lot of people out there that got dogs that call themselves breeders, but they just got dogs. You know what I'm saying? So I really want to sit down and figure out when I have a litter of dogs, what's going to bring people to me compared to the dude on the street that just got dogs that claim he got, Serbian bloodlines and German bloodlines, right? What's going to make
And
them
got a
want to
hell of an
pay,
Instagram.
right? What's going to make them want to pay me $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 more for my dog when they can go get that dog for $500?
Mm-hmm.
So, I've to answer your question, it is unfortunate, man, because when you really love dogs and you understand the purpose of the dog, and you see so many people just selling a breed, right? They're not selling the purpose of the dog. It kind of, I know it taints me a little bit. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I stand on it, man.
Jihad, what you think, bro?
Well, I think somebody said it. COVID. A lot of people are at home. They're not going to work. I think one major company, just 60,000 workers voted to stay at home and work from home rather than go in the office. And that company was saying, well, if you all come to the office, we're going to give you the opportunity for pay raises and for promotions. And if you stay at home and work, you won't have the opportunity. And over 60,000 of those workers opted to stay at home. During COVID, the dog market really exploded. And now what we're dealing with is the residual effect of COVID just ended. The dogs that people bought during COVID are breeding age. And people were counting our pockets, not knowing everything that was going on behind the scene, and they hopped in head first. I got a call the other night, man, to go to a home of a brother that's a truck driver. And what I thought was a prolapsed uterus from the picture ended up being a stuffed puppy. And this brother absolutely refused to take the dog to the vet because he didn't want to pay that $1,200 start out emergency vet fee. And he allowed that dog to suffer and to die. So that's the environment we're in. I have put a lot of money into my kennel in terms of moving and getting dogs that revamping my kennel with respect to the Rottweiler a lot of money. And I love the breed. I'm going to do going more into showing. I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna wait the wave out. And my thing is being on podcasts like this, education. See, I fought the way where we at now. I fought it on really the breeders, because many of us did not take up on the opportunity to educate the public. We were chasing money. Just to be honest with you. And I use the Rockwell as an example because before our brother Forte came on Facebook and started talking about genetic health testing and the importance of shows and talking about selective breeding, it wasn't nobody in Arkansas that I know of out of hundreds of breeders that were health testing or showing. So I think the market is what it is. It's like it is for a reason. And some of us who are here, we're going to weather the storm, you know. These people are fly-by-night people, man. They're going to be here today. They're going to lose a few litters. They're going to lose a few $1,000, and they're going to be out the game. I ain't worried about it. The market is what it is because that's what it should be right now.
Hey, I got a question I saw in the comments, if I can bring it to the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see here. Who was it? Who was it that said it? Well, somebody said that if you breed quality, the dogs will sell.
Yeah, that was gonna say that you gonna sell those. I sell those all day. I still been selling those.
Right. Well, okay. So my question is, does quality automatically equal paying customers?
No, it doesn't. Not in the world, not in the atmosphere that we're in, because people are looking for deals.
People still pay for what they want, though.
That you're absolutely right, but you can be next to yours, and you've done your homework, you've done extensive work behind it, and a joker can have baubles at Walmart in the parking lot, and if they $700, they're gonna buy them $700. The people that come to you are the ones that appreciate. First, they appreciate the extra. They appreciate the extra work. They appreciate the work that you do. They appreciate where you have your puppies in a whelping box, in a temperature control room, the food that you feed them, how you wing them, the fact you play music in your nursery. They appreciate those things because they choose quality. So the unfortunate thing is you have more people in Walmart, in that Walmart base, if you mentality, selling dogs than you do people like yourself. So yes, you can sell them. They're not going to stop you from selling them, but what they will do is they'll flood the market with trash, and the person that's uneducated, they will feel that that's what it should be versus what Jordan is doing.
Right. Because you can tell by the calls you get. Do you have any Corsos for sale? I'm looking for a black one. I'm looking for a blue one. Them are the main questions you get. So you can't tell me
it's not if you health tested. Yeah, it's not if you it's not if you health tested. It's not how many generations have you been breeding. It's not how long have you educated yourself, or how have you tested the dog as far as their performance, their obedience. Every dog I have is advanced obedience trained. They don't care nothing about that. Most of them don't. They care what size the daddy is, what color the mama is, and how much they are.
And that goes back to what I said. In most cases, breeders in general have not educated the public.
That's right.
People don't know because those who do know have not really taken the time out to educate.
They may not be educated themselves.
I was helping a guy pick a puppy
That's it.
A few days ago. And you know what? His wife was there in this ear. She wanted this quote unquote cute looking puppy. She didn't care about structure. She didn't care about the feet. She wanted the dog that come to her. We get clients like that all the time. And at that moment, we have the opportunity to educate the client. And even in educating that client, we may lose a sale. I've talked to clients and I've said, hey, man, what are you going to do with the dog? And they say, well, I want to do this, and this. And I say, hey, brother, this is not the dog for you for this reason. And I explain. And they don't give a damn. They still want that dog.
Right.
Even if you tell them, I don't want to take your money, they still want that specific dog. They don't even want you to help them pick out a dog.
Is quality subjective?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Not to me.
No.
Okay.
But
Not
once
to me.
again, they don't know what quality is.
Subjective mean what do you mean by that? What do
I'm
that
about to
mean?
break it down, right?
Okay.
So in the dog world, right? Most of us are in the working dog world, right? You have the pet dog world and you have the working dog world. Now, we were talking about there's the rare dog that can cross over that you can take to the ring and show, right? And take it back home and it's going to tear somebody a new asshole, right? But we know most of them show dogs that look good, they ain't about shit if, shit hit the fan, right? They don't have the temperament for it.
Right.
Because they've been bred specifically, they've been softened specifically to show well in the ring, right? So which one is quality? The dog that shows well in the ring, but ain't worth
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Or
Gotcha.
the dog that may not show as well, but will save your life if necessary. Which one?
I think both of them can. I think both of them can be categorized as quality. I don't think just because a Corso doesn't do protection work, I don't think you can't say it's not quality, because a family can benefit from that kind of dog. Every family doesn't need a Corso that has true Corso qualities. Now, you can also say, well, they shouldn't get a Corso. But I don't think a show dog, and this is just my opinion, okay? You said most of us are in the working side, right? That's us on this panel. But most breeders aren't working breeders. Most of them are breeding exactly for what you just said, temperament-wise, right? So when you take a family of 4 kids, most households in America have a gun in it. Okay. Most families only need that dog to say, hey, something is not right outside. For them to put something in their hand to make it even on the inside. Every family does not need a dog that's going to eat your ass off.
Right.
Because their lifestyle does not support it. When you talk about a protection dog, you do this all the time. A protection dog has to be put up when company comes over. A true one. It has to be put up. It's not allowed
to. That's a dog ain't no good. If you got to put him up, then he ain't no good.
Well, it's depending on the purpose behind it, though. You see what I mean?
I'm saying if it's a protection dog and he's supposed to protect me and the family, right? And he got it put up, and I'm transacting. See, if I'm transacting, my dog is out for business.
It depends on the purpose, and it's not all one. You can't ball it all up in one thing. So
no, I'm talking about specifically the protection dog, specifically a home protection dog.
Yeah. So if I have a steel plant and my dogs are to protect my steel plants, no one else is going to deal with them but me. So when you come in my office, yes, I'm going to put them up, because when we close for the day, I let them loose and they do exactly what they're supposed to. So when I say that, I'm not saying just one specific reason. You see what I'm saying?
Security.
So when
I
say
that's
that,
a security dog.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Trying to say is, every protection dog can't be around everybody.
Gypsy said that. Gypsy said he would put his dogs up.
You don't. Yeah, see, a lot of old protection breeders, trainers, they will tell you firsthand, when they have a protection dog, they put him up You're not allowed to socialize. You're not allowed to do it because they just don't let it, because sometimes that dog reacts to people in certain ways. Whereas you might walk up to me and say, "Hey, boy, what's up?" If that protection dog sees certain movements with your body, guess what it's going to do? It's going to protect. Every dog does just not go off of a command with the word. Some dogs are geared towards your movement as a person.
So
Now,
if a
Hecker,
person
can you
let me ask
chime
you a
in on
question.
that?
Hold on, let me ask you a question. If a dog is put up though, and how it's gonna protect you if you're making a move?
When I say put up, I mean when I say put up, I mean when your family members come over. You might be having a party for
Right.
the kids or something like that. Protection dogs don't get to socialize with the crowd that you invite over for the Super Bowl, for those kind of things. That's what I mean when I say
What if
put up.
somebody what if somebody get to acting up that's in the family that came over for the Super Bowl? I want my dog on the spot right
So
now. If
we-
at any
we-
time you
and
Well, I hope
acting
you
up.
don't sick him on your damn. I hope you don't sick him on your damn family member. I hope you can talk it out.
No, but
So-
you know what I'm saying? Look, no, I don't want.
I hope you can talk your cousin out of the damn house and you don't sick the dog on him.
No,
So
I'm looking for peace though. Don't even think about it. You know what I'm saying? Don't even think about it.
here's the way I look at it, right?
No, we all.
Go ahead, brother. Yes, sir.
No, what? Heck, I want you to chime in, because I know what I was gonna say was, it was simple like this. I think if you find like people that do have protection dogs, they can have them out around most people. It's just certain
Right.
situations that they're required to be put up. But go ahead, Heck. What were you saying?
Here's the way I look at it, man. Dogs are dogs, right? So I don't trust any dog to be what's the word I'm looking for? To not make a mistake 100% of the time.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
because I look at safety first, right?
Yep.
So if and I don't have people over my house, so I don't really have this problem, right? The only people that really come in my house is my wife and my children. Like, so I don't
Right.
really have that issue.
Right.
But if I had clients that, frequent a lot of people coming over their house, I'm going to tell them 100% of the time, put your dog up, right? Because especially if you having events where people are drinking and getting loud and stuff like that, we all know how we train these dogs, right? We
Right.
all know what their
Right.
triggers are. So because I know it's a dog, right? I don't want to put my dog in a situation to fail.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Bam.
So I'm always going to
Right
recommend.
there.
See, that's why I'm gonna always be an advocate for the Borbal, because I feel like the Borbal is that dog that you can have him out and he ain't gonna be a threat unless you is looking for some drama.
Any dog can be
It's
that.
still a dog, man.
Yeah, you don't leave
Yeah,
guns out in front of your kids, even though you teach them not to touch them.
It's
Right.
not a human, man. It doesn't have the
You don't leave the dog.
it doesn't have the ability to use discernment at the level that we do. Even most humans don't
That's
have
right.
the level of discernment that they have. So if I know that about humans, I damn sure ain't gonna trust the dog to have that level of discernment.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that I agree with you totally. So that's what I was saying when I said to put them up.
One time I caught a dude stealing. Right, it was one of my dude that was in my house for real.
One of your family members was.
Well, he might as well.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? We was that tight like that, because I think about it, if you around, we gotta be tight. So he was family,
Right.
like family. This is my young cousin right here, and don't nobody be coming around me like that. But I caught him stealing. He gonna tell me, the dog started barking, and he said, "Man, you know what you should do? Go out there and check and see what the dog is." Are you more cooler than me? So I get up and slide out the back door and go check it and let the dog out. And then I slide right on back in. He didn't know. And when I get in there, he taking money off the table, putting it in his pocket. So I was like, "What is you doing?" Right. And so the dog, anyway, I told him to take his stuff out the pockets and stuff. He didn't want to take it out. So the dog, we got into tussling. You know what I'm saying? And the dog comes in. Actually, I hit him and knocked him out. The dog comes in, and when I woke him up, I told him to sit down. Don't get up. Don't get up. I started poking him on his forehead. Don't get up. Don't get up. I'm not playing with you, man, because I don't think, I don't know what he's going to do. I done attacked this dude. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I don't want him moving around, grabbing no weapons or nothing. And when the dog hears the commotion, she comes in the house. You know what I'm saying? So he's looking for weapons though. But good thing that the dog was there because I didn't have no shoes on. You know, I had on slides. You know, and you know, I wanted to take him outside, and I just wanted him to sit there and be still. But the dog held the man near, and it was a perfect situation. What I'm saying is, had the dog been, and this dog bit 13 people. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that the dog was loose was a really good thing. And I tell people when you come over to my house, I'm not putting my dog up. I'm not putting my dog up. Get out.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying?
Where you stay at in Cali?
Cleveland.
No, I'm from Cleveland. East
You
Cleveland.
from Cleveland?
Yeah, he from
Big,
Cleveland.
big.
Oh, okay,
I'll
Cleveland.
beat that part out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm in the trenches, real crime and real drama is going on. My dogs is on point. Like, I got to have them on deck. I'm not playing. I'm not
When
playing.
you say he bit 13 people,
My
you
dog
mean
bit
like
13
in training
people, baby.
or
He
like
said, no,
live
I said,
bites?
listen, the dog is cool. Come on in, don't touch her.
And she bit him anyway.
No, the dog be cool, but and then they try to pet. They think that it's like a cool dog. Come on over here, and they was
Beat
like,
that
because
out.
the dog is cool, and I'm like, no, don't touch her. And then when they try to touch her, she bite them, and I was like, I told you, don't. That's real talk though. I said, don't touch the dog. It's not that kind of dog.
Joe, do he stay close to your family?
I don't think they know him.
You don't think they know him?
No. I gotta check.
Oh man.
Hey man, I gotta show this comment, Jordan.
What it say?
Diamond Grit says, Jordan is a comic relief on this show. I love it. Hey, did you have some chicken or something? Because I keep hearing people talking about you had some chicken on your lip.
Yeah, that's what had me laughing when he was talking. That was the gum. I guess my temperature is overheating. I had to take that gum out. It started melting.
Oh, okay.
Man, I gotta see the rest of the comments, Joe.
I ain't never heard.
You should be able to
I ain't seen none of the comments.
I ain't never heard.
You got to do something with your phone.
Gum melting.
Yeah.
I ain't never heard that before.
They said, Jordan.
Okay,
Y'all, me and Cuz we was exercising before I got on the show. I was, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's
So
funny.
yeah.
No, but real talk though. Now I feel like, I mean, there's nothing wrong. It's the beauty of dogs with having so many different breeds and stuff. It's like to each his own, and everybody should be able to identify themselves and say, you know, this is what I got going on. And if you get this kind of dog from me, you might have to put him up. You know what I'm saying? You should probably put him up. And you should be able to say that and explain that to people. Like, this ain't the kind of dog. And like what you're saying, the educational part is a big part of it, because this knowledge and information, they've been hiding it. They've been hiding it. They've been telling a lot of lies to us too. They've been misleading us, misguiding us, especially with these shows, right? Because the show is an evaluation. It's supposed to be able to tell you exactly what you're working with, right? But the truth is, it's about politics and political. They got agendas. People got agendas, and they trying to promote their own agendas and make
their. That's not true always.
Not always.
I'm gonna tell you why I said it's not true always. I got remember I told you I went to Texas and I took the dog that I have now that I really like. I took that dog, and honestly, I was gonna sell that dog, man, because I had a few dogs out of the litter, a few males, and I was gonna sell him. I had put him up for $1,750, man, $1,750. I'm gonna sell that dog. And so my partner said, "Well, man, take him to the show. You going to the show? Take him to the show. Sell him at the show." I get to the show. There's a white guy, older white guy out of I don't know what city he's in. Hickory Farm Rockwellers. He's been doing this for like 40 years. And when I got out and he looked at the dog, he said, "Man, you get ready to win. Ain't nobody got nothing like this out here." And I took first place, and then I went on, I think the next month, different state, and took first place in youth Seagulls again. I don't have no relationship with the judge. I don't have no relationship with the president of the club. I ain't got no relationship with none of them people. So it may be, in some cases, wherever money is involved, you get politics. I know people that can call the AKC and make things happen that shouldn't happen, honestly. Mm-hmm. So you're going to get that. But it's not that in every case. It's not that in every case. It's not that in every show. It's not that with every judge. Some of these judges have integrity. And then you got people that standing there, they looking at the dog. You got people that if you're around, you're able to start seeing what the judge see. And sometimes it's not that a person may have a better looking dog in confirmation in terms of what the dog look like, but you got to think about the movement of the dog. Even some people have nice dogs, but when you run them dogs, that top line falls. And if you don't know that that's a big factor, if the back of the dog is falling, there's a lot of things you got to take in consideration. I place on the high level, not knowing none of these folks, not being connected to them like that, and none of that. So a lot of people say that and then they emphasize that as if every show you go to is just politics. That's not true.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. What do you say to the AKC champion that only lived 4 or 5 years, 6 years?
It all depends on why that dog died.
Right.
Yeah.
It could be a lot of different reasons. It could be genetic. It might not be genetic. It could be environmental.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So
you got a lot of environmental stuff that's going on. I have to be careful with my water because my water, if I don't do my water right, if I put my males beside females while they're in heat and stress them out, their pigmentation will go bad. But
see, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
That part, you just don't know.
I don't think that we should be propping these dogs up like that, right? For real, I like a dog. Now, might sound crazy, right? But one of the best dogs that I have ever had, it came from out of some of the it was like one dog. It was like out of 20 and the 20 puppies in this kennel, and I just had to get one to save. It was like it was horrible conditions, but dogs was dying in there, and I just got one for the free to save it, right? But it ended up being one of the best dogs, the healthiest dogs. It wasn't no big dog. It wasn't no whole bunch of dog, right? It wasn't nothing special. It was for a neighbor, right? I ended up giving it to a neighbor. But what I'm saying is that dog, it would end up to being like 17 years old, or something crazy like that, 13, 14 years old. And what I'm saying, it brought the lady a ton of joy and stuff. It was able to survive. Like a lot of these conditions that these pit bulls come out of, I think that makes the dogs stronger, the stresses. Instead of, not saying that there's nothing wrong with what you're doing, my brother. But if a dog is weak, I don't want it.
There's a lot of factors involved with these dogs. Let me say this. And the challenge I have with most people, particularly on the business side, the breeding side, is that you look at a pedigree and people say, okay, this is a champion bloodline, or maybe it's a working dog that achieved this, that, and the other. And they're pointing at that dog. Okay. But then they have an issue with the process by which that dog achieved this credentials to be even highlighted in the pedigree. It don't make sense. It does not make sense. Even if you go to the working level and you look at the working dog and you said this is the Labrador Retriever has the longest jumping record in the world, and we bred her with the male that has the same thing because we want to produce superior dogs doing it. Then you're looking at a process. So I don't understand how can we like a dog with credentials but hate the process by which the dog got his credentials. That don't make sense. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of people buy by pedigree. They're gonna look at that dog. They're gonna look at that pedigree, and from that pedigree, they're gonna be able to read. They know the history of their blood. They know the history of them dogs. They know what this dog throw, whether the dog throw late bloomers. They know what this dog, whether this dog may throw something real nice, but this is the fault that the dog. That's how people select the breed. That data is there. Well, were you talking about confirmation in the show ring, or were you talking about other data that comes from other places? It's the same thing. Data is data. All that data is used to do what?
Make an informed decision.
So we want to say we like some of how we get the data, but the other part we don't like, but we don't even have the experience to even know what it entails, but we don't like it. Come on, man. Come on, man. We're not making sense. When we talk like that, we're not making sense.
Talk like what? Talk like what?
The process by which a dog is proven.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Whatever you say that process is, the process by which a dog is proven. Whatever means or whatever method that is for that dog, if we like proven dogs, we have to embrace the method.
So what do you say to the person that says a dog show ain't nothing but proving the dog is pretty? A championship, that just mean the dog is pretty.
That's probably somebody who never been in shows. They go. The only people I hear that from is the people that never been in secret shows. I don't know about the other shows. I'm speaking about secrets. I'm speaking about personal experience.
Yeah. Because that's important.
Outside of that.
See, this is because your level of showing, brother, is totally different. Right, because it's not the traditional AKC dog shows that we witnessing on television.
Let me tell you about the
You're
AKC.
not talking about that, right? You ain't talking about that, right?
Let me tell you about the AKC. In the 80s, the AKC was championing out dogs that had missing teeth, missing P1s, crooked teeth in their mouth, didn't have the proper bite. So the AKC, take them out the picture, bro.
Right.
Because they'll tell you that you can't breed a dog at a certain point. If you got some money, they let you register that dog, them puppies.
But hold on. Can we truly take the AKC out because they're the largest, most popular organization?
What I'm saying is the AKC has obvious major faults that stand out. That's why if you go anywhere in the world dealing with the Rottweiler, they look down on the United States because of that.
No, I feel
They do not go by the rules. They just start having judges. They learn how to judge dogs with the tail. They got some issues.
So,
the other world moved forward 24 years ago.
But what I'm saying is, of course, amongst us on this panel and people like us, breeders and people that work dogs, of course, I would think 100% of us would agree with that. Right? But we're
I would say this:
buying the dogs.
This is what I would say. Jordan's question was, what would he say to people who said that confirmation is only just to show that the dog is pretty, correct? Wasn't that your initial?
Yeah.
So I've done it. I've done it in the AKC realm. I've done it with UKC as well. Believe it or not, it takes training as well to get a lot of the dogs to perform in the ring, because every dog isn't necessarily geared to perform in the ring. When I think of like with my daughter, with her, go ahead.
No, my fault, man.
No, with my daughter and the fact that she showed the way that she did, she worked her dog sometimes as much as I did on the obedience side. You know, though she took hours and hours and hours to get that dog to perform in that ring. So I don't want to necessarily take it away the fact that it's supposed to just be pretty, because it is supposed to represent the confirmation that the dog is supposed to have. Okay. And a person that the reason I used to like UKC shows over AKC was you had to work your own dog. You couldn't hire a handler to work it. You see what I'm saying? So we started with UKC because UKC was a little more fair. It gave you a fair playing ground. You see what I'm saying? Because everybody had to show their own dogs. Well, if your dog had flaws and you wasn't that good of a handler, it was going to show big time.
Right.
right? Well,
Right.
those were the things that, to answer your question, every dog that's in conformation isn't just a dog that's pretty. Some of them have the qualities, but in a conformation ring, it's not being asked of them to show anything else besides conformation. That doesn't mean that they don't necessarily have it in them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to, I guess, decipher when we say quality. What does that mean, right? Because
Right.
I think of specifically a Rottweiler breeder, and I ain't gonna put his name out there because I'm not thinking of him in a negative way, but I'm thinking of him because he's a large breeder. He's a pretty popular breeder of
Yeah,
Rottweilers.
we know who you talking.
He has
Yeah,
a
no,
lot
no
of
doubt about it.
Rottweilers,
Hmm.
and he's always saying his dogs are quality, right? Now, for me, when I look
Hmm.
at his dogs, I wouldn't consider them quality
They
because
overweight.
well, if you know who I'm talking about, I'm assuming you know who I'm talking
They
about.
overweight. They definitely overweight.
A lot of them
I
are
think we
overweight.
all do.
Yeah.
I mean, I would don't leave the audience out. Name a name. You know
Nah,
what I mean?
because I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it in the name because I actually admire the brother because
Right.
he take care of his dogs and he
Right.
think his dogs are quality, right?
Right.
It's just for me, I wouldn't buy a dog from him.
It's a
You see
quality
what I'm
pet.
saying?
It's a
He
quality
ain't gonna
pet.
tell you
Because
what the pedigree is. That's for sure.
well, I mean, again, I don't know. I admire the brother. I
Okay.
admire the work he put
Okay.
in.
Right. Right. You
I,
respect
I
it
admire
because
I
it's good
admire
game.
how
You
he's
respect the ride.
constantly
Yeah,
upgrading his
yeah.
fees and
Right.
stuff. So I admire all of that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just I wouldn't buy a dog from him because for me, quality is I've never seen any of his dogs work nothing.
Hmm.
But his claim to fame is quality.
They pets. They quality pets.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, what are we? Do we have multiple different definitions of quality?
It is. It's subjective, like you said.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very subjective.
Let,
In that sense.
right. Because
let
especially
me
when you
say
deal with
this.
social media, I can get on here and say anything. Even I have a following. You know what I'm saying? I can get on here and say, yeah, this, and that, and that. Guess what? You said enough, people started believing. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? They don't know any better.
So
Let,
when you talk about him, when you talk about the breeder you were just referring to, when you say quality, he could stand on and say, hey, most of my dogs I've seen, they live to 10 years old,
Mhm.
10, 12 years old. In a sense, that represents quality because the longevity of the life, especially if it's a longevity that doesn't have health issues.
Right.
So quality definitely can mean different depending on who you are.
Mhm.
You could say a breeder has great quality by the look, the fact that he works, but then down the line, his dogs might not be living till 6 or 7 years old.
So here's
So
the thing. I'm a
what form it's based on? I feel it's based on kind of different scenarios of what your ideal quality is.
A good
Some
point.
people feel quality is putting 30-inch rims on a IROC.
Right.
Ain't mine. So it just depends.
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
dogs,
So
in my
then, okay,
opinion,
my bad. Let me ask this question real quick. Does that quality we were just talking about, with that brother, align with the quality that is the standard when Jihad takes his dogs to the show that he takes his dogs to, or to the AKC standard?
no.
I often say I don't know. I don't think they put longevity life wise in a standard. I think they'll suggest, but I don't
What?
think there's anything that
Not even
specifically.
longevity, just the look of the dog.
Well, if it fits the standard that's set forth, whatever that time is.
Let me say this. I was just in a group earlier today, and they was dealing with a 13-week-old puppy. The 13-week-old puppy had literally nubs at the top of his mouth. And there were multiple people in there that said, okay, it's all right. Just let it take time. It's losing its. all type of erroneous information. Okay, we have to have something to go by, brothers.
You right.
Right.
Okay, we have to have, or we'll be all over the place. We have to have something to go by. If
Right.
you look at this book right here, it's showing multiple teeth. It's showing you the overbite. It's showing you underbite. It's showing you what we call a cross bite. But you know what? It ain't number one bite that's acceptable with the Rottweiler, and that's the scissor bite.
Right.
Okay, when you get to talking about angulation, you get to talking about top line. We don't have no dip in the dog.
Soft top line.
Explain to the audience, to the layman term. Explain to people that don't know, that might be watching, that just is interested in getting the dog. You're talking about a scissor bite. Why do that matter?
Okay. The scissor bite, number one, we rely heavily on the teeth to determine healthy genetics. Okay. If you have teeth that's not positioned right in the mouth, or teeth that are underdeveloped, they're going to be weak. You can't have weak, undeveloped teeth in a working breed. So the teeth is important. You're talking about work. You're talking about the teeth.
So you said, so what about the people that have bulldogs, and they say that the undershot is allowing the bulldog to be able to hang on to the dog's nose, or a bull's nose?
Different bite for different breeds.
I think it's
that are acceptable.
But we saying it's acceptable, but if we're looking for strength, we're looking for a hole.
You have to consider each breed. Every breed is not the same, because even in the Corso, a slight underbite is acceptable.
Right. But if we're talking protection dogs, right? And the dog is supposed to bite and hold something.
Mm-hmm.
The scissor bite makes it more effective. Is that what that's what I'm
for the Rottweiler, yes.
Yes.
But it doesn't, but for a Corso, it could be the underbite could be more.
No, sir. The underbite is acceptable in conformation. It's acceptable in conformation, and it's a slight underbite. It's not an extreme.
It's acceptable, but not desired.
Not exactly, but it's not going to add any performance. It's not going to add no performance. It's not adding anything to no added value to the evaluation.
If you have undeveloped, if you have a bad bite, you're going to have undeveloped teeth. You're going to have issues, dentition. If you have, for instance, let me give you an example. We said that the Rottweiler got to have 42 teeth, right? And that it has to have the scissor bite. Well, even if you go to the skull to muzzle ratio, if the muzzle is too short, you don't have enough room for the 42 teeth. That's why you start having crooked teeth, and a crooked teeth becomes what? Weak teeth. So all of this stuff is in the standard for a reason. I don't go and make up my own stuff.
Right.
That's what I don't do.
So you saying these so-called Serbian Rottweilers that look like extra long pugs aren't they don't fit the standard?
I'm saying that a lot.
Don't start there.
Absolutely saying that a lot of them
don't start there with that.
Fit the standard. That muzzle is too short. You know, there was a time when the breed standard for the Rottweiler was a 50-50. Then it went to 60-40, but it was a long time before it went to 60-40. And even after that, they monitored that bite. There are breed wardens that monitor this stuff.
So has the standard
and do any type of stuff and just
Mr. Jihad. Mr. Jihad, does that you know which one you're talking about? Is that, have they changed the standard to where that's acceptable?
No, it's not acceptable.
That must. Okay, I didn't know if they had started to accept it or not.
My whole issue with like the floating standards, the variance across a dog is a dog to me. Not to interrupt you, brother, but a dog is a dog. And if a dog is supposed to bite something and hold it, I don't understand how 42 teeth or 58 teeth could make a big difference if a dog is doing. We're not even measuring how long does it bite and hold.
Let me give you an example. Let me tell you why. Watch this. Let me tell you why. Joe, you pointed out to me about the Corso in the Napoleon Mastiff actually being the same dog. When we went to the pictures and we looked at all the stuff back in the 50s, actually had the same conformation in terms of body type.
Right.
But now you go to these Napoleon, these quote unquote Napoleon Mastiffs today, if you have them chase somebody off your property, they're gonna chase them to that ditch, and they ain't going no further.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're talking about when you give an inch, you lean into a mile. When you start changing the conformation of the dog and saying this don't matter, that don't matter, that's how you get all the way out there. That's how we got these people got 180-pound dogs calling them pit bull because they didn't think anything mattered.
No, they was making something totally different. What I'm saying is, like we talking about from a historical aspect.
Everything is
the
there
Rottweiler. What you telling me is they were just saying, look, hey, the butchers. That's supposed to be the butcher's dog, right? They or a company. That's one of the purposes, original functions of the Rottweiler. They would look at a Rottweiler and say that dog only got 38 teeth, or they was counting dogs' teeth to make sure that it was equipped to perform the origin and task. That made a big difference.
Brother, you have to understand as breeders, we are scientists. The feet matters. Whether that feet is spaced out or whether it's well arched and anchored, whether the pads is hard, everything has a purpose.
Okay,
the pelvic bone of the dog, when you look at the pelvis of the bone, the pelvic and the angulation of the dog, it matters in movement. You will see these dogs clip over themselves.
So that shouldn't change from one dog to the next. Then that should be across dogs.
Listen,
right? If this is the correct way to breed,
all depends on what the dog is bred for.
So the Rottweiler was bred. The Rottweiler was bred as the butcher's dog.
There are certain similarities. There are, but you can't say you can't take a poodle and compare it to a working breed.
Why not? A poodle is a hell of a dog. A poodle is crazy. They use poodles for police work.
Not no more.
But I'm just saying, not no more. But once there was, a poodle is a working dog. A poodle, man. I know a person that bred poodles. They big, they strong.
And our great grandpa's plowed a field of 50 acres by hand, but we don't necessarily do it.
Human beings, we believe in advancement. We believe in making things better. And if we can scientifically see how to make something better, that's what we should be doing. How to make it better.
Better at what?
We might well go back to driving horses and buggy, man. Why? Just leave it like this. Drive horse and buggy.
No, I'm saying you say making it better. You saying it's improving at what?
So let me think. Let me ask what I believe he's asking, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jordan, if I ask it in the wrong way, right? So based off the original creators of the Rottweiler and the Corso, right? Because that's what I deal with too, Rottweilers and Corsos. I got 2 Corsos and a Rottweiler.
Saying the creators,
right
who is the creators? The writers of the standard?
No. The original creators of the breed. So I'm assuming they will be the writers of the original standard. I don't know who the writers of the standard is now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the original people that came up with the concept of the Rottweiler and the Corso, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had a vision in mind. When they finished putting that dog together, we got the Rottweiler. I know it doesn't look like the Rottweiler that was created then, right? The Rottweilers now don't look like the Rottweilers back then.
Mm-hmm.
So what I guess the question is, who made the decision to say like, hey, when they created this dog, like at what point are we kind of playing God, so to speak? Because again, these people created these dogs and they created a finished dog. And we started purchasing these dogs based off what they created. Mm-hmm. So who gave who the red light to say we need to change this because they didn't do that right?
Hold on one second. I'm going to explain it to you this way. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
What I'm saying, though, that I just want to make sure that I'm further clarifying my point. What I'm saying is, if we're testing a dog ability to run and we're saying that this is the perfect rear set for running, and we look, so that would mean the Greyhound.
Can I share something with you all? Let me share this with you all, brother. This is a brief history summary. I'm going to read 1 Literally one sentence. In the region of Rockwell, these dogs met and mixed with the native dogs in a natural crossing. None of us are doing that. We're all controlling the breed in order to make it better. So if you got a product and it's decent, don't you want to make it better? So people that came along scientifically looked at the dog and see which bite is the best bite. We got several bites.
We not all scientists. No, this is what they did. This is how they made up the dog, the bite.
Heavy boxing in it.
Hold on, let me say something real quick. This is how they made up the standards. The dog shows, if you look at the history of breed standards, it was people that just sat around and started writing up what they thought was right and wrong. It had nothing to do with the dog ability. It was like people just hanging out at the end. Once these dogs left usefulness, once the industrialization of the global,
everything in society was has law and order. Everything from your religions to your government, everything has a standard.
Brother, we got to have standards, but other than that,
no doubt,
we always in left field. I'm just
no doubt, right?
I agree.
Yeah, agree, 100%. We definitely got to have standards, but I'm saying they should be meaningful. I like what you're talking about, the data. I like what the things that we have to do to quantify the breeding value. I like the measurements, the breed suitability test. I like accuracy in recording. All I'm saying is some of the confirmation stuff, some of it is deceptive because they writing it and shifting it towards their preferences.
That's true. That's true.
It doesn't necessarily. It's not always written.
Well, that's what I said at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right. So let me ask you this, Jordan.
Mr. G, how long have you been? How long have you been showing? How long have you been showing?
Too. If you know that it's going to cause a problem for this dog to have a short muzzle, that he's not going to be able to breathe properly, and you're buying dogs like that, and you're putting dogs out like that. Once again, it goes back to where your integrity at as a breeder, as a buyer, as a trainer, as a handler. It all goes back to that. At the end of the day, you can change anything that you want to. Anybody can change. You got to remain true to what you know is right.
That's what I do. That's what I'm going to ask, Jordan. I was going to ask if you had problem with the AKC standard. Do you yourself have a standard in mind for you?
No, I got AKC dogs. I breed to what I feel. I'm talking about for totality. So, like, I do have a dog that when I pop out, man, this dog is so impressive, man. He's big, he's strong, he got big, thick bones. I'm talking about you gonna be like shocking all blew away. Anywhere I go, it's a dog show. It could be the gas station or anywhere, people stopping, cars slowing down, like they want to come out and pet the dog. But this dog is weak to me, right? This dog got some serious deficiencies. He's not my kind of dog. Like I don't have no desire to have him in my home because he's soft. The dog that I really love, yeah, he is. The dog that I love is hard. Nobody likes him though. You know what I'm saying? He's 126 pounds, 100, and I run him. You know, he can go anywhere with me. He's a very versatile dog. Everything. He's the ideal dog. So the point that I'm making is you got to breed for what you want. This is my dog, but I know at the same time, in order for me to maintain a business, I have to sell dogs. So what I do is I take my stud that's big and strong and beautiful, and I'm trying to improve and better by breeding him to more dogs with more tenacity and give me some attitude. That's what I'm pushing for, the total dog. I want 140, 50 to 60 pound dog that I could take and push him 10 miles. You know what I'm saying? Even if it costs him his life, I want the dog to be able to finish. You know what I'm saying? That type of drive. You know what I'm saying? And then 140 pound, which is 160 pound dog, or maybe even 170 pound dog, which is against nature's law. It's not the norm. That's a
That'd be an exceptional goddamn dog.
that's an exceptional dog.
Can
Yeah,
I
that's the best dog.
buy it?
Right.
Can I buy that mother? Can I buy that mother?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm
That'll
on.
definitely
That's what
be
I'm
a
on. The
once.
best dog in the world ever seen.
Man, shit. That'll definitely be a once in everybody lifetime
Right.
dog.
Yeah, all the way.
Yeah, yeah. But you
But
know, so that's
I think what a lot of time what we get caught up in is when people say standards, it's usually a group. It's usually a group this day and time now that sets a standard, and it usually fits that group. And then where I don't like to be poked and prodded and told, you got to do this, you got to do
right.
this, you got to do
That's my
this in order for me to, in order for me to
be
truly have
accepted or something.
what I know the dog should be. I don't fit the norm in every situation when it comes to the Corso. I didn't fit the norm when it came to the
Right.
pit bull. When I was told the pit bull was 30,
Yeah.
40, if you had a 50-pounder, he was pushing it on his way out, So those were the things that
You see what I'm saying?
I don't like to.
I like the fact. I like that what you said that though, because not to interrupt you, I just want to get this in real quick though, because you said something that was very important. Every breeder you should have the AKC standard or whatever, and then you should have your thing. Like your dog might not have this or that. You should be able to say, well, knowing that's how intimate you should be with your bloodline. Like I could tell you for a fact, some of my exotic boar balls, the ears might fall to the back. And that's just the way that it is. And now that's not 100% correct. Every now and then I might produce a liver nose. That's not according to the breed standard, but that doesn't take away from this dog value as a therapeutic dog or value as a protector. It might not qualify for breeding, but he still could be qualified for breeding. Because I wouldn't pass up on a super duper dog just because it got a liver nose or just because it don't fit the standard. That's how I feel like, because I'm doing my own thing more towards what I feel like is right, not just because somebody else told me.
Well, it boils down to you can look at a lot of aspects of life that you can't. It's more than just one thing. Look at us. We're more than just one thing.
Yeah.
You can't have a breed of dogs where every dog is identical. It won't happen. It shouldn't happen, and that's not the law of nature. So at the end of the day, when it comes to like how I look at it, I tell people in the minute when they call, if you're looking for a 150-pound Corso, I ain't your breeder. If you're looking for 160, I ain't your breeder. 145, I ain't your breeder. Now, if you're looking for something that'll go through that wall for you, I'm your breeder. If you're looking for something that's going to be there when your kids go off to college and they got to lead a dog that's 15 years old, I'm your breeder. So at the end of the day, they can set out a standard. But then when you take on the responsibility, and I'm not disagreeing with you, Mr. Jihad, no shape, form, or fashion, because I told you from the beginning, I feel that conformation and functionality should go hand in hand, and that usually falls under a standard. But at the same time, as long as I've been doing, I never bred the biggest Corso. I'm not a big Corso kind of guy. I'm a Corso guy that it'll do the things that I told you it would do. And I don't knock. I got some partners that got 145s, 155s, and they're functional. Okay. Now, functional, how long is the question? But they are healthy. They have great hip score. They do great genetic testing, those kind of things. So they actually function in that sense to where they check the boxes. Well, most people can't do it at 150 pounds. So my hat off to them because they figured out the system. They have the quality of dogs that will support what they're doing. Okay. And they're not having to go by this and by that and try to put it together in order to do it. And then there are single families that are suffering behind your experiment. But at the same time, I know for a fact, you can't walk in my yard and tell me you got to do it this way or you got to do it that way when it comes to what I'm doing the way that I choose to do it. And that's just my prerogative, And if it hits the mark of where it's supposed to be, great. If it don't, the work is on me to fix it and continue to better it.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It's all about improvement. And you got to
Yeah.
have just an idea what is improvement for you. What does that mean
Right.
to you? Be able to just explain that to people. And then
But you got to be realistic.
Yeah,
you got to be realistic in it too.
And not saying it's more to me, it's about transparency and honesty, right?
Yeah.
Because not every dog is not, this is the 100% ideal correct when it's the standard. No dog is going to mirror the standard 100%. Or maybe it does. But that's why they keep changing them. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you should be able to say up front, keep everything across the board. No, this dog ain't gonna be 160 pound or whatever according to the standard, but he can still be correct in this way or this way or this way. And and let people know what they're working with, exactly what you're working with, or the best to your opinion. But a lot of times, I think it's just people not studying. They're not really observing the dogs. They may, or some people are. I don't want to say that. My hope would be that many people are, making these observations and able to identify these traits and characteristics and tell people, their potential clients, the best information that they could possibly have.
Gotcha. Fellas, it's been going 2 hours.
I go all night long. I just was getting warmed up. You know what I mean? If y'all are tired, y'all can go ahead and retire.
We old, man.
No, it's all love, man. It's all just joking, man.
Yeah.
Just a little kick it back and forth. That's all, man. I really, man, I learned a lot tonight, though. I really did. And it was enjoyable. It was quite an experience. It was quite an experience. I enjoyed talking with y'all, man.
Hey, I think the funniest thing I learned tonight when you said your dog bit 13 people.
Right.
Yeah. I said, oh no, I gotta stop this.
Hey, them 13 people must love you because you still got him.
No, she's gone now. That was my first dog. But yeah, no, it cost me a lot of money, a lot of little situations. Didn't cost me too much. My one dude, I mean, it was a lot of people that was close to me. I don't have.
Y'all got to go back and watch Jordan's first interview with me. He goes a little bit more in depth on it. Yeah.
But we got to do this more often, y'all. We got to do this more often.
We really need to do this more often.
Especially with everybody being able to introduce themselves and kind of get the audience familiar with what their positions and stuff. We know what's going on. Now we can get into some different topics and stuff, about like have different questions and what I'm saying, and just take turns answering them. I think we're gonna limit it to like 30 seconds though, 45 seconds or 1 minute. You know how they do in the debates.
Yeah, what else? I want to see that work.
Yeah.
And then you know what? These are real people on the ground. I know a lot of people tell me, go get that motherfucker, that's way up here, blase, and just he at a point that he don't even have to do this stuff no more. Now I like the guys on the ground that's actually doing it. You know what I mean?
Right. So, in the mud.
In the mud
so with the dogs.
People can, because a lot of times YouTube, you gotta think about YouTube. It's been big channels that really have grew the Corso and not gave everybody a true definition on what a Corso was.
Right.
But this big channel has popularized, our channels have popularized the Corso. And people not even knowing what they truly are about, and they thinking all of them are supposed to be soft dogs or have a problem with, he ain't letting nobody come around me. What you think you got? You know what I mean? So we got to clean up some stuff too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So,
but Joe, I appreciate you again.
Man, me and you, I might have to get you on the solo because we got to go over some things. The dog that I was talking about, my favorite dog, the best dog, it's like my son-in-law is a grandson of that dog that you had.
Oh, off of Rex.
Yeah.
And man, I'm actually line breeding on the father, Cairo, which was Rex's son.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm talking about, man, I feel like he was one of the best. He had top 3 hip 3% on the hip and elbows for the breed.
Yeah.
He was, with the Borbor, I feel like he's supposed to be versatile. They should be able to work. This dog did it all. He could run. He hit the sleeve hard. You don't see that often with these dogs. All y'all brothers, though, we may have to do some individuals. We could do individual. We could do 1-on-1s, 2-on-2s, 3 verses, and whatever y'all want to do. We can put some music and some mics high. You know what I'm saying? And then exercise. I don't know. Whatever y'all want to do, I'm with it, though.
Yeah. That's what's up. Glad everybody come out. Tomorrow, Lamont got another show. I must have paid this man.
Man, you ain't. Well, you owe. I ain't got it yet.
Yeah, so he got another show tomorrow with Schoolboy. Jihad, boy, I appreciate it anytime you come by. And heck of you too, man. Heck of you too. So
Yes, sir.
yeah,
Much
man.
love.
I guess we call it a wrap, and we'll see everybody tomorrow noontime, Central Standard Time. I say.
Okay, noon.
Noon. I think it's noon.
One,
Yeah.
1 o'clock in. 1 o'clock in.
It's 1 o'clock your time.
Okay.
10 o'clock California, UK. Y'all should be able to see it. Y'all be getting on to me about seeing videos at a respectable time for the UK. So you got it.
And listen, y'all, much love, though, for real. I got mad respect for everybody. And everybody, I appreciate your contributions. I'm just really trying to keep it interesting. That's all. Keep it going. And then no disrespect. Now, I don't mean to be cutting nobody off, but I got to get my words in too.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, guys.
All right, we out.
Yeah, this is a classic. See y'all tomorrow.
All right, the first time in history, y'all. I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.